This meeting of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee to order. We will start with roll call. Please say here when I call your name. Trina.
Here.
Jessica. Is not here. Kurt.
Here.
Shannon. Here. Jenny.
Here.
Aaron here. And our liaison. But do I need to call Jerry in the roll call?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, Jerry.
It's okay. I accept.
We don't have any, do we have any minutes to go over?
You'll have your minutes at your next meeting. This is your workshop, so you don't really need to approve your minutes.
Do we have any public comments?
So there is no one in the waiting room online.
Oh, and where are we inserting?
Do you want to insert that in committee business or committee comments? You want to add it to the agenda?
Okay.
Okay. So we have your applicant for the, an applicant for the position that's open here. And so you'll get a chance to talk to her and learn more.
Unless you have any public. Right, moving on to committee business. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the demographic info updates.
You might want to move your microphone a little, because I don't know
Or not.
if Jenny can hear you.
It seems like the best way.
It was quiet, so thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jenny.
It's okay.
Okay. So we went over the first portion of the demographics when we had the joint meeting with the TSP. And then we asked them to send us the information kind of showing the trends on that they shared that with us.
The longitudinal.
Yes,
data.
thank you.
Is it okay if I just get up and go look at that?
Yeah.
Don't we, do we all want to look at it though? Probably to see if we have questions or. I'm gonna-
It's on the, I don't think it's on the shared drive. It's on the. It's in the packet.
Yeah, it was part of the packet, so it was mailed out to you, but it's also on the website on the packet too.
The only thing that struck me as kind of weird was the population of Hispanics versus the population in the school. It was like 1% to 13%. It was a huge discrepancy. The-
Was the school population in the school larger than the population in the?
Yeah,
So-
it's on that.
So the population in the city is, it's on a grander scale. The
Right.
Population in the school system is on a much smaller scale, so there might
Oh,
be a larger scale of youth in the, in that community than there are, adults, but, at least population comparison might be a larger scale in the schools than it is in the city as a whole.
Yeah. And the school district covers more than just the city of Estacada.
right. Yeah, it's a huge district.
Yeah.
One of the biggest in Oregon.
One's like Eagle Creek, one.
One's over by Redland Road, over on
Oh,
that side,
let me
one's Eagle
scroll
Creek
up,
and one's
Because I
Estacada.
believe there's a map up at the top that
Yeah.
shows, okay, so 242 encompasses the lower portion of Estacada, and then 235 is going to get some of the north end. And then 236,
Over there towards Redland,
okay?
because the school district actually goes all the way out there.
So then we look at the,
And the 5-year estimates, that means. what? That's what it's like at the top.
yeah. That's when the census runs it in 5-year increments. So they don't necessarily have every year, that they kind of extrapolate the data out.
All right, so what's our narrative? What are we seeing here in the differences from the 2010 to the 2020? Any other significant differences that are going to tell us what's happening with our population?
Well, you'll see that it's a more diverse population. So the Hispanic population is higher, so is 2 or more races. Most of the other ethnicities are higher than they were in 2010. Also, you'll see an increase in the age 65 plus that has gone up. Whereas the other 2 age ranges have decreased. So we're starting to have a slightly older population. Better educated. You have a larger percentage of people who have their bachelor's degree or more.
What else?
No.
So that's just track.
Yeah.
See, that's what it's confusing.
This- it is-
Breaking it into track.
The way they broke it up is confusing. Yeah, I agree.
Because all of Oregon is not.
No.
That's what-
uh-uh. So,
comparison statement. So-
yes.
So we're bet like less people here
Mhm,
have less than an I3 state overall,
mhm. Yeah,
but we're
But-
much
but-
higher. Than all of
Then all of Oregon. Mhm.
them, way under the education.
Do we know what's pushing so many kids in Estacada not to finish high school?
It's
Because
actually,
I don't know anyone that's got high school age kids, so. I'm- I'm-
they're actually have really good graduation rates
Yeah.
for the high school here. So it has gone down. When they say no high school diploma, that's in over 25. So this is
Oh, okay, gotcha,
adults.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, so this isn't kids not graduating. This is adults who live here who have
Moving in.
not.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood.
The school district historically has had a higher graduation rate than the state of Oregon.
Okay,
Mhm.
Now, like, look at this track, 242 went from 13.7% with no high school diploma to 6.8, so that's huge.
Yeah.
shift. Yeah, and the like bachelor degrees is a little more consistent across the 3 tracks versus there
Mhm.
was quite a bit of difference between the 3 areas. So the hearing difficulties, well, this is really hard. It's too micro. Cause like, I want to see the whole percentage for our area.
Try doing it
Yes.
on a phone and going back and forth because it's too small.
Yeah. So I mean, we can combine the data and bring it back. So all the census tracts are together in one column. Is that what you guys would like?
I think unless we're talking about geographic differences, I mean, at some point there might be options, accessibility as far as city events or things like that. We may want to look at the different areas, but I
Mhm.
think for this purpose, just to tell the story of our community that having it together. Easier. Smartphones. 92%, 53.5, 69, 59%. So those have gone up.
Mhm. You also have significantly less people who don't have a computer than previously.
Vast majority more access.
Mhm.
Is there any other? Jenny, did you have any narrative commentary on the data?
Not really. I agree. It would be nice to have a combination. Now that we have everything broken down, it'd be nice to see the overall numbers of everything.
Is it showing that 63% of the kids in town need help with financial help with lunch?
We can go back.
The reduced,
you can
the
move your
reduced price.
microphone to-
The schools push for reduced, because then they get Title I funding. So even though a child isn't getting a reduced lunch, they still want you to fill it out so that they get the Title I money.
But in order to qualify, you do
Have
have
to-
to fit within those income ranges.
Right.
So they do have 62% of the children in the school who qualify for free or reduced price lunch.
Is that for this year? Because I know during COVID, all of the students qualified for free or reduced lunch. So I wasn't
Mm.
sure how that changed the numbers.
Yeah, that was the 2020, 2021, and you're right, this year they didn't. Next year, they will go back to requiring kids to apply. So we'd probably be able to get the numbers on that the year after.
Okay, do we have anything else?
I think it's, don't realize how big this is, but 30 languages spoken
Mhm.
in the Estacada School District. 30 different languages. That's pretty crazy. That's awesome, you know?
But the largest was definitely Spanish.
Yeah.
Well,
Spanish, Russian, something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Can we go over those couple of recommendations that they had created based off of this information?
Okay, so the first recommendation was, although the full material translation may not be required, it can be useful and inclusive to provide a translated single-page project overview and contact information where Spanish speakers can request more information about the project.
What do you all think about that recommendation?
Agree.
Right, so this is saying like instead of translating in the entire
Mhm.
document of something to include the high level, the bullet points, and then who they would contact for more information.
Yes. Okay.
I don't remember the entire list, but I remember there's the stakeholders group. And were there any organizations that work heavily with the Spanish speaking population involved in that group that would help with outreach?
I believe that todos juntos, I'm
Mhm.
probably.
Todos
Probably
Juntos, and I think
butchering
Ant
that.
Farm also has
Yeah, Ant Farm are
a
both.
significant
Mhm.
presence.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. And then the second recommendation, while outreach focused on lower income populations may not be necessary, some outreach techniques can provide benefits across the economic and educational spectrum. Using approachable plain language in written materials will be critical. Allowing feedback via mobile-friendly websites and holding public events at local schools can help make the project information more accessible. The project should be sure to include alternative options for users without fast internet service.
So just making sure that there's mail in or other
Mhm.
methods other than internet
Yeah.
for giving feedback or participating.
Yeah, and when we were going over the requirements for the public engagement, we did lower the age for the written materials to 8th grade instead of high school level, or middle school level instead of high school level, to make it more accessible.
Wasn't like 6th grade, the standard for like, so everybody can understand it?
It's something like that. Yeah, yeah. It's middle school level. I don't remember exact grade, but
Yeah.
okay. And then the last one, track participation by age and include survey questions about mobility related challenges. Consider targeted outreach using hard copy surveys and other materials at assisted living or distributed by senior support services. Hold public events in accessible locations.
Okay, so I think these are really great, specific to our area recommendations. Is there a way that we can fold these into our equity lens tool, like in the appropriate section, so that these are things then that, and we can note them as recommendations from TSP, is that what it is? And have them there as part of that tool that, becomes a very useful, like, are we, if this is in person, is it as at an accessible location, and take these things and build them in?
Yeah, the equity lens is a living document, so you can totally update it to include some of these recommendations that you feel are valid across each section of the equity lens where they would fall.
What do you all think about, or either as a part of the tool as like an addendum to additional considerations for our community? I think it'd be nice if the equity lens included all of this data also as a part of it.
I think if we have some solutions to the questions we've been asking already, I think it's good to include those and make them as accessible to everybody as possible.
Maybe not included in the equity lens, but a link to it, at least in the online version, a link to the data.
I just feel like these are really concrete, specific examples, and the equity lens has a lot of higher level suggestions. So this is one of those things that might help people see, like, how would I use this? How do I, these are really good examples of very specific things for our community to consider anytime we're doing anything. I agree.
Could we like call it an equity tools addendum or something?
Yes.
It's your document. You can call it what you want.
Then we can just throw it in at the end or in whatever sections it would be relevant to.
Yeah, I think this document, and then once we have the combined data for the tracks, so for just the community versus the state of Oregon for the 2 time periods.
Yeah.
I think that would be good to include. Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to who they said to contact, I'd like to see them contact like 100 Main, that house there. And I don't know if Grace House still has the if it's changed or if it's still elderly, but maybe contact them and actually have someone go there.
Yeah, and that's another, I think, thing that we could do to make the equity lens tool more useful for people, is to actually create those lists of these are the different places in town, and
I think that's a great idea.
yeah, include the schools and who the contacts are, and each of those community center, any of the assisted living facilities, group homes, anything like that that helps people just go down a list and check. Okay, yeah, we got all these people.
I like that idea.
Okay, so that's something we need to work on.
Yeah.
Do lists of that like already exist somewhere, or?
I mean, we have developed a stakeholder list for the TSP, so we have some of that information and a contact person but I don't know that we necessarily have all of it, because, you know, you guys are in the community probably a little more and might know more people and more contacts. So if you have suggestions to add to the stakeholder list, which I believe that we shared at the TSP meeting. But if not, I can email it out to you guys again. So if you have suggestions to add to that, to build your list, then that would be great.
I think the stakeholder list was read to us, but I don't think we ever got a copy of who was on it. So if you could email that out, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the demographics provided by TSP? No. All right. So we will move on to the next item of business, which is the code discussions. And where do we start?
Yes. Where do you start?
I think we should start with transportation because that's what's headed next.
I'm assuming Elena is coming to us with some suggestions.
Well,
or
my
maybe-
suggestion is, we're going to be looking at adjusting the housing. And so I would start there because we already have things that are going to be that specific recommendations, but there might be other parts of the housing code that we didn't look at all because it wasn't part of the housing strategies. So if you guys want to start at housing, since we're going to be adjusting that code anyways, that's probably a good place to start.
Okay.
Have there been any community complaints about any of our code, about you know, anything that might want to bring to the committee's attention before, you know?
I don't necessarily want to say it's a complaint, but there's certainly discussion about daycares and in-home daycares. And it's not a complaint. It's looking at how to make the code more clear and accessible. Because I'm sure most of you are aware there is a daycare shortage in the city, in the county. And so we want to look at our code and see how we can make it easier for people to start a daycare
Okay.
and run a daycare.
Okay.
And
So-
that's kind of in housing, but not in housing.
Right. Okay, so some people have found it challenging to go through the process to be approved to be an in-home daycare.
I don't know that they even start the process.
Okay.
They've looked at it and they're confused just looking at it.
That's a good lens.
Mm.
Can we look at the housing code section just right now so we can get an idea of how big it is, how we want to tackle that?
Okay.
So it's in Title 16.
Mm-hmm. And then we have. So you have different districts. There's the low residential, medium density residential, multifamily residential, North City residential. And then some of these you're not going to have housing in, like industrial. And then some of them have some housing, like downtown. They have, you know, you can have apartments over or behind the commercial spaces.
Okay, so first we need to determine which of those districts includes housing.
Well, definitely all the ones that say residential.
Okay. But then like mixed use, is that,
That's residential.
Yeah.
So is some of the commercial.
Mill area, mixed use, residential, commercial,
so it'll say residential.
central mixed use.
Like that house that's on the old highway, that really cute one that sits on that side. It's 5 something or
It's right before you get to, what was it?
No.
Well-
Well, it's 5.3 acres. It's right before you turn to go down to the highway and go across. the
Right,
road
it's on
to go.
Eagle Creek, right before.
there's a
we go
house
down.
there. But then it's considered commercial because the property is
Goes all
considered
the way
commercial. Yeah, it goes
all the
down and
way
around.
To the new highway.
Yeah.
It kind of juts around the two or three houses that are right on the corner and then dog legs to the right.
So
towards
which
the-
district does that one fit
That one's
in?
a
Is that
commercial.
Is it general commercial? I'm not sure.
Or is it like residential, commercial?
I don't
I
know.
think it's residential. It has to be residential commercial because it's got a house in it.
Yeah,
Well,
it could be-
it doesn't have to.
it could be
Yeah.
that would just make sense.
Conditional use or
It would,
something that was there before. the
yeah,
zone
if it was
changed.
there before the zone changed, then. So some of these are newer. The mill area mixed use, you guys added that a few years ago.
Yeah.
So you might start at looking some of the older ones. So probably R1, R2, R3 are a little older.
Those are gonna be the ones that get the most, that are gonna get the most attention.
Mhm.
Growth in the building that we have.
And how long is each one of those? That's just our one.
That's just R1. Now, a lot of these things are going to be duplicated across. So like here where it says structure and facade design, these are just visible features. And so that'll be, and most of them will have like the same list there. So it's like design.
Did we talk about going over code outside of the meetings and then coming back and discussing, or doing that as a portion of?
I think you were talking about potentially having like a subcommittee.
Okay. Okay, so I was gonna say, like, until we did one together, it's like, if we could do one,
Mhm. Yeah.
we either then would feel more confident doing it outside of the meetings or as a subcommittee, or just to kind of see what we're looking for.
We can look at your upcoming agendas and see if there's one, and it'd probably be a good idea to have one of the planners attend so they can help discuss, because some of the language is pretty technical.
Right.
And so talking to you guys about what this means and how this impacts if you change it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm proposing that we have one that we go through in a meeting together before we start doing any of the work outside of this meeting,
Mhm.
where we all potentially read R1 outside of the meeting, come with our questions. We can go through it with the planner so that we feel more confident in what we're looking for
Mhm.
outside of here. How does that?
You can
So-
also, what something city staff really appreciates is while you're reading it, when you come up with those questions, email the questions so that they're prepared to answer those questions at the meeting. So it's always,
Okay,
I just know that, from experience, it's when you have the questions, email them in advance so that they're prepared and they can answer those questions to the best of their ability at that point.
And that email can be sent to planning@city-of-Estacada. So that's the specific address for everyone in the planning department to receive it.
so how hard would it be to set a date with?
I don't think it'd be very hard to set a date.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's on our next meeting agenda, or what? Oh, our goals?
I believe for the 8-8 workshop, we're supposed to be working on the committee vacancies. So I would recommend doing it after that so that we can get those hammered out and turned in before the next vacancy period.
And that's our next meeting is August 8th, or do we have one more?
That's our next workshop.
I think
Okay.
we're on the 25th, is that right?
Yeah, your next meeting is the 25th. That's not a workshop. And the only thing on the agenda is art back mural. And then I think the art commission asked to be added to that agenda to come and have a discussion with you guys too.
Would it be appropriate, even though this is kind of a workshopy activity, to have the planner come to that meeting? And
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have a very full agenda right now, so you can fit it on the agenda.
okay, unless Jenny, are you saying that there's work we need to do at that July 25th meeting to prepare for the recommendations? Or you think we can get that all accomplished in that workshop on August 8th?
I'm hoping we can get most of that accomplished on August 8th, because I know we already kind of worked on it. It's just, I think, formalizing the recommendations and actually submitting them to the council.
Okay, so we'll tentatively see if we can get the planner here on the 25th.
Yeah.
To get our start working on the code review.
Okay, and so between now and the 25th, you're going to look at the R1 zone.
Yes.
And then email planning@cityofestacada.org. Any questions you have about that? And you're looking at it through the equity lens.
Jenny, can you hear the leaf blower?
Nope, I cannot.
He is quite loud right outside the window.
I can move my microphone over there if you want.
Okay. Good. All right. So the next item is the presentation to the council on July 25th. So that must be our quarterly.
Correct.
What have we been up to?
Yes.
So this is one of our efficiencies we've created, where we're going to take time to come up with that list of what we will present to city council for what we've been doing in the last quarter. So this is for April, May, June.
Yes. April, May, June.
All right. What have we done since April, May, and June?
You approved your charter. And so that's pretty major. You can present that. You can have some discussion on the work that you've done with the TSP, helping with the public engagement plan.
Just trying to find all of my agendas since then, so that we could try to. But apparently they're not in very good order.
I don't remember when we submitted our feedback for the housing needs analysis, if that was in April or prior to April.
I can look up that. I don't know off the top of my head.
And also our workshop with city council.
Yeah.
That was during this period, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we still need to schedule another.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could probably mention the upcoming event with Art Back as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've really, partnered with both Art Back and the Arts Commission.
You can also put since you will be working with the Arts Commission that day, the day of the meeting, you're working with the Arts Commission on, an upcoming event.
Yeah. Would anyone like to be the presenter to city council at that meeting?
Thought Jenny volunteered for that one already.
I most definitely did not.
I mean, everything's better in groups, so anybody who would like to be there.
And you can zoom in. You don't have to attend in person.
And this is for July 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be, 7:30-ish?
I'm technically available also. So Shannon, we can partner on that.
Great.
I wasn't sure if we wanted to add in any mention of the vacancy and hopefully getting that filled.
Well,
Well.
they will be appointing someone tonight. We do have I believe it's tonight. Is it? Oh, I haven't looked at the council agenda. It's either tonight or next meeting, but we have closed for applicants and the applicant is here. So I don't know if you want to use this as a segue or if you were done with your discussion for.
I think that's it. If we remember anything, I guess we can go through past the meeting minutes
Mhm.
from those to glean any other gems that we want to share and then think strategically, since it is an opportunity to have a voice with city council, if there's anything that we would strategically also like to bring up in our report. So I don't know if there is, I'm just putting that out there.
I'm gonna be going to the TSP meeting tonight. And so if there's anything from that, I'll bring it too.
Great.
And we will have that meeting that morning or that afternoon prior to. So if there's anything that comes up between now and then, you can certainly add it to your list.
Okay. So will you make sure that's on the agenda, just a last?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So, so now we'll move into committee comments, but so in this portion, yes, but it's section 4.
Yes.
We're doing it with section 4.
Yes.
So we will give an opportunity. Brittany, do you want to introduce yourself? I think we've all had an opportunity to look at Brittany's application.
If you want to speak, could you come up and sit here where it says Jessica? Because I don't have a microphone over there.
Thank you
yet.
for being here, Brittany.
Yes.
So I just looked at tonight's agenda and it's not on there.
Okay, so it's probably the next one.
Can we ask them to put it on there so we just do an emergency?
I can talk, I don't know, I'll talk to Sadie before I leave. And
Okay.
Mhm.
is she here today?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to Sadie before I leave and see if that's something or if there's a reason why it's not on tonight's agenda. Because
That would be good to know. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, since we meet every 2 weeks, it's time is burning. We have so much code to get through,
That's exactly why I want to join is the code.
right? Yes, the fun stuff. So
Sorry.
just tell us about yourself, Brittany, and why you are interested in joining this work.
Well, I've lived in Estacada the majority of my life. Most of the time when I was under or in high school or younger. But I don't really know a whole lot about this community. I've been gone for a while. And well, I've been back for a few years. But sadly to say, I just don't know as many people as I used to. My dad's been involved in the community since we moved here when I was 2, but I used to know a bunch of people. But I wanted to get involved because I felt it was a good way to relearn the community and be a part of something that I believe in and make me branch out a little bit more instead of being always involved in things in town instead of out here. So that's it.
Great. Do anybody have any questions or? Jerry?
Want to go first?
Yes, in 2006.
I'll go first.
Okay, go Jerry.
So in your experience, the recent experience in Estacada, is there anything that you see, any areas that you see where Estacada needs to improve on its diversity, equity, and inclusion?
That's a loaded question. I think that the world has been changing for a long time, and maybe our town, with how secluded it's always been, might need to catch up a little bit with not just race and sexual orientation and gender, but it's everything. I mean, I think I grew up blinded, I think, when I was little, and I think I'm learning more and more about what Estacada is, and it's a great town, and there's always room for improvement and learning about new people, their experiences, and
Thank you.
Hopefully I answered your question.
That was good.
So you're serving on a board through your place of employment, correct? Or
Technically, I work for a steel fabricator in Vancouver and Eugene, and it's called the Pacific Northwest Steel Fabricators Association. So it's in the industry.
right. So do you have experience serving on
I do.
something like this?
Yes.
Probably more than most of us have.
That doesn't
coming
make me
onto
good at
this.
it, but
Jenny, do you have any questions?
I know you lived outside of Estacada for a while. What do you think you gained when you were outside of Estacada that you can kind of bring back to Estacada?
just how diverse it is outside of Estacada.
Where did you live?
Well, first Fairview and then a military base in North Carolina and Vegas.
You know, bring a little Vegas to Estacada.
No one wants that. No.
Okay. You don't, unless anybody else has any questions. Yeah, we're not going to torture you by.
Not this meeting.
Mm,
Where we get you in.
Yeah,
So you can make a recommendation to council. There is only one applicant for one position, so
right. So do we need a motion?
you can, yes.
When does it close? Or did it?
It already closed, yes.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I make a motion to recommend Brittany Vago as the candidate.
Second.
Okay, Shannon seconds. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion stands. That is our formal recommendation to city
Great.
council for whichever date they choose to discuss the applicant.
I looked at the opening again and it did say that they were going to appoint July 25th. So
Okay.
if we can get it sooner, that's great, but that is the date that they had set aside.
Okay. I mean, technically, somebody could just read the code and provide comments to planning at estacada.city.org.
Cityofestacada.org.
Anyone could do that. You don't have to officially be on the committee yet to do that. Just saying. All right. Committee comments. Do we have, I guess we'll just go around and see what people have to share. Trina, I'll start with you.
It's good to finally get him out of the house and be able to come down here.
Off the Zoom.
Off of Zoom. I hate Zoom and I'm horrible at it, as you guys can tell. And it's good to welcome you. I think you graduated with my son. Do you know Cody Feldman?
I know the name.
Yeah, he had the back issues and stuff. He had the back brace and scoliosis.
I don't know.
Well, anyway. Yeah, he
The
graduated
name
about
sounds familiar.
the
though.
same time as you did. So welcome.
Thank you.
Kurt.
I'm ready to go home and put an ice pack.
Okay. Well, I'm glad this
Good
has
to
been
go.
a shorter meeting than normal then for you. Jenny?
Thank you, Brittany, for applying and for being here today. And hopefully you will get approved. I don't see why you wouldn't, being the only applicant. So thank you.
Shannon?
It's nice to see you, Brittany. I'm glad you're here and hopefully we'll get to approve you. I don't see why we wouldn't. And it was nice to see everybody in person. So thanks for being here.
Jerry?
I want to say how exciting it is to see you guys making progress and figuring out who you are and what you want this committee to be and making progress. It's really exciting, from my standpoint, being the council liaison. It's just exciting to see. It's been fun, being part of the growth and everything, but it's really exciting to see progress. See movement. I know it was tough for everybody for the, being a fledgling committee with really no experience coming into this. So it's exciting to see where you guys are, and hopefully we will be welcoming Brittany to the committee very, very soon. And I will make sure to ask the pertinent questions on my way out. But yeah, thank you guys for all your work, all your hard work. It's been good. It's really nice seeing progress. So thank you guys. And thank you, city staff.
You're welcome. And I want to clarify, Shannon, you're doing minutes for this meeting? No?
I'd like to find somebody else to do it. I'm not very good at it.
Okay.
I'm not.
No,
I tried.
none of us love it.
Minutes.
Let's add that question to the applications. I mean, really, we should rotate so that everybody has a chance to do it and shares the load. And Shannon and I have both done it.
Yeah, I feel like you're saying that I should do the minutes, so I will do the minutes for this meeting.
Thank you,
Well,
Jenny.
okay.
It
Thank
is
you.
recorded, so you can do them on your own time, and I will send you the last minutes to use as a template.
Okay, and the minutes for our last meeting, is somebody already doing those?
Yeah, those are already completed.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I'd say for everyone, when your turn comes, because we're gonna share this, that Elena sends out a template, typically using the agenda as the base template is super helpful. I think everybody could use just like a quick lesson on what do you include, what don't you include, what are the critical pieces? Because you feel like you need to transcribe the entire thing, but you really don't. And so it's breaking that and just understanding and narrowing down on the critical pieces to include.
Yeah, so critical, anytime anyone makes a motion, you need to record who makes a motion, who makes a second, and then the voting. And what the motion was exactly. So that is critical. You include the roll call. So who is at the meeting, who is not at the meeting, when the meeting starts, when the meeting ends, and then high points of discussion. So you don't have to say he said, she said, etc., unless it is something that contributes to the motion.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
So these meetings are going to go on to YouTube, correct?
Yes.
I've found recently that are these meetings closed captioned?
YouTube does close caption them. Yes.
There is a button on YouTube. If you click it, you can hit transcript and everything that's said right there. So if you want to get the exact verbiage, you can just copy and paste it off that transcript on YouTube and plug it in. So
Yeah.
that'll make it easier instead of, oh my gosh, I gotta write this down because my handwriting looks like chicken scratch.
Well, and definitely that's like you do, when I've done the minutes before, you have the meeting up and have your, typing right onto the agenda as your base template as you're watching, and you can pause and go. But having the entire transcript is maybe helpful for other purposes, but not for the official record, right? We don't need.
Right, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that if you want somebody's exact verbiage, you can go to that transcript and copy and paste it out. So.
How is the YouTube closed captioning? Is it like Google Translate, or is it better than Google Translate?
The closed captioning is different than the transcript.
Okay.
It's because I understand what you're talking about. Somebody can say.
Is it garbage or
like
is it
soft, like SOF, and it'll come soft, or like feel whatever, they'll break the words down, but if you look at the transcript, it's the exact wording. So
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a good tool.
It is probably 75% correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
the hardest thing is going to be is doing it on phones.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just say that, thank you all for being here. I know this is time out of your day and we try to make sure it's time well spent. Brittany, thank you for applying. I think it's one thing to, for people to say they want to be involved or complain about who's involved, and then, but to take that extra step and actually, put that to work and apply to be a part of this is really important and critical for the community. So thank you. I know sometimes it can feel like a big scary step, but I don't know. That's it. Thank you all very much for being here. Do we know public comments?
There is no one in the waiting.
Okay, great. So with that, I guess we will adjourn this meeting at 1:51.
Great, thank you.
Bye, Jenny.